Imagine standing face to face with a sloth, but instead of a fuzzy creature the size of a backpack, you're looking up at a 6-ton beast the size of a modern elephant. This isn't science fiction. It's our planet's very recent history. Why is it that almost every animal we see today seems like a mini version of a prehistoric giant? From beavers the size of bears to armadillos as big as Volkswagens, it feels like the world has been hit by a shrinking ray. We often assume these giants simply couldn't hack it, or that big was just a prehistoric phase. But the truth is far more mysterious and tells us a lot about the fragile rules of the world we live in today. We are living in a zoologically impoverished world, a remnant of a time when large was the ultimate survival strategy. To understand why the giants vanished, we have to look at the fabric of the world they lived in. Scientists describe the Ice Age as a Plaid World. It was a time of radical, rapid climate fluctuations where ecosystems never stayed still long enough to settle down. Because the environment was constantly shifting, species were always on the move, creating strange, transient weed zones of highly nutritious plants. In this chaotic, shifting landscape, being big wasn't just a flex, it was a superpower. Large animals possess unique physiological hacks for a world in flux. First, there's metabolic efficiency. A 5,000-kilogram elephant doesn't need 1,000 times more food than a 5-kilogram dik-dik. It actually needs much less food per unit of body mass. This is known as Kleiber's law, and it means the bigger you are, the more efficiently you convert plants into tissue. Big animals also have incredible fasting endurance. An elephant can travel much farther and survive much longer without food than a mouse can, allowing it to trek across a changing continent to find greener pastures. But about 11,700 years ago, the game changed. The chaotic plaid world of the Ice Age ended, and the stable striped world of today began. In a striped world, climate zones are stationary and predictable. You'd think stability would be good for everyone, but for the giants, it was a trap. Many of the advantages of being huge, like the ability to migrate thousands of miles or subsist on low-quality forage, suddenly became irrelevant in smaller, stable habitats. In this new, stable world, the small and the meek inherited the earth. Small animals can maintain massive populations in tiny areas and reproduce incredibly fast. Large animals, however, need massive territories, have low population densities, and reproduce very slowly. This makes them demographically fragile. If their population takes a hit, they can't bounce back fast enough to avoid the downward spiral toward extinction. Then there is the overkill factor. As modern humans spread across the globe, we entered these environments for the first time. Large animals that had never seen a human hunter were naive and easy prey. Research shows a direct correlation. Wherever humans arrived, the largest animals disappeared almost immediately. We didn't just hunt them for meat, we disrupted the entire food chain. By the time the world stabilized into its current striped configuration, the giants were already pushed to the edge, and the loss of their Ice Age advantages was the final blow. Look at the sloth. The extinct Lestodon was a ton-heavy ground dweller that could walk upright and move with surprising agility. Its modern relative, the three-toed sloth, weighs less than 10 kilograms and spends its life hanging upside down in trees. The giant Lestodon couldn't adapt to the stable, shrinking forests and the pressure of human arrival, but the small, highly specialized tree sloth found a niche where it could hide and survive. Or consider the dwarf elephants of the Mediterranean islands. When large elephants were trapped on islands with limited resources, they didn't just die out, they evolved to get smaller. The Paleoloxodon falconeri of Sicily stood only about 1 meter tall at the shoulder. This insular dwarfism shows how quickly nature can hit the shrink button when the large body strategy no longer makes sense for the environment. In a world with limited space and resources, small is the more stable long-term bet. But here is the mind-blown twist. The largest animal to ever live on Earth isn't a dinosaur or a prehistoric sea monster. It's the blue whale, and it's swimming in our oceans right now. So why didn't the blue whale shrink? The answer lies in the ocean's unique fabric. Unlike land, the deep sea can still provide the massive, concentrated resource bonanzas needed to fuel a 190-ton body. The ocean didn't stripe in the same way land did. It remained a place where being a giant is still a winning strategy. There's also the Africa exception. Africa is the only continent that kept most of its giants. Why? Because African megafauna co-evolved with humans over millions of years, learning to be wary of us. Additionally, Africa's unique geography allowed it to stay plaid. Its drylands still experience the millennial-scale boom and bust cycles that favor large, mobile herbivores. So, what does this mean for our world today? We're living in a shrunken ecosystem. When the giants died, we lost more than just cool animals. We lost ecosystem engineers. Large animals are the ones who transport nutrients across vast distances and keep grasslands from turning into thick forests. Without them, our ecosystems are simpler, more fragile, and less resilient to change. The small animals we see today are the survivors of a massive global downsizing. They are perfectly tuned for a stable world, but we are now changing that stability ourselves. As we push the planet's climate into a new era of instability, will being small still be enough to survive? Or are we about to see another massive shift in the rules of life? If you could bring back one giant from the past to restore our modern ecosystems, which one would you choose? Let us know in the comments.